let me know when people start coming in, and then we'll start. Well, at least we'll have dinner after this. So we good. Give it another minute. Alright, what's going on, everybody? I'm Logan McCoy, corporate chef for Nestle Professional and Johnson Wales alum. So today I have the privilege of taking over the Johnson Wales Alumni Live for the Cook with J-Woo. And so today we have some of the inspirations that I've been looking at over the last couple months. And so it's Indian-ish. It's been watching the chef's tables and doing. I wasn't very familiar with Indian cooking for a while, but found some inspiration during the pandemic through some Netflix videos, some cookbooks and things like that. So I'm going to take a little interpretation of those things and I'm going to bring them to the plate today. So going back to Johnson Wales alum, I graduated from the Charlotte campus in 2009. Graduated with my associates in culinary arts in 2009. Graduated with my bachelor's in food service management in 2011. I was also a teaching assistant for the College of Culinary Arts as well. And then I transferred up to the Providence campus. I did my master's degree while working as a management development program participant and graduated from there in 2013. So very happy to be here today. We're going to walk through just some of the key ingredients that we're going to be cooking today. Just to touch on some of the Indian inspiration. We're going to really talk about some of these beaten rice or flattened rice. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then just some of the main ingredients that we're going to go through today. We really want to build flavors, and that's what we're really going to highlight today. And really this cooking technique reminds me very much of one of my favorite classes that I ever took, Traditional European, or Tech to some of the Johnson Wales Charlotte students and classmates of mine. So really what we're going to try to do is really build flavors, right? So in this dish we're going to level them in different levels, in different stages, and so the end product is something that's extremely flavorful and very delicious. So we're going to walk through those steps as well. And then, so that's going to be the po, that's going to be the flattened rice dish. Secondly, we're going to work on just a curried chicken, right? So we're going to sear some chicken, and then we're going to make a sauce of crushed tomatoes. We're going to use our Miner's masala concentrate, and so that's a paste, it's a concentrated paste that has a load of spices, warm spices, and tomato paste as well. So it's going to be a nice little paste. We'll finish that off with some cream, and then we'll use to balance the acidity with the spices and the fattiness from the half and half with some of our vinegar that I'll show you a little later on. So just a little bit about my history with Johnson Wales. So I was not only a student, but I was also an employee. So for anybody that has any questions about whether prospective students or students that are currently on campus have any questions about either campus, don't be shy. Would love for this to be conversational between us and the audience, so just let us know. And then two very important people behind the camera today is Doug and Manny. Manny is going to be doing the videography, and they will also be relaying the questions that you have to me, and then they'll be, the support. So I'm sure they're going to make me laugh, which will be good. All right, so let's get right into it. So first and foremost, what we're going to do is we want to hydrate this flattened rice. So if you can take a look right here. So beaten rice or flattened rice is rice that has been cooked, rolled, and then dehydrated, right? And so really what's going to happen here is we're just going to take the very first step in the beginning, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to hydrate it in a little bit of water just to get it going. So this is about 1.5 cups of flattened rice with water. Again, we're just going to mix this up, and then we're just going to let it set aside. And then before we add it into the pot, I'll bring it back so that you can take a look at what it looks like once it's hydrated, because it does puff up quite a bit. And what we're going to do with this is, because it's already cooked and flattened and then dehydrated, we don't have to really cook it a ton more. So really we're just going to add it in with the saute, and then just until it's hot, it'll be perfect. So here we go. So now we're just going to let that set to the side. Alright, so first we're going to work on the chicken. So what we're going to do is we're going to sear off a couple chicken breasts. Bring the bowl over. Alright, so what I like about this product of ours, the masala concentrate, the flavor concentrate, is that it's so packed with flavor, but yet it also, it alleviates some of the labors of toasting and grinding spices and going through that whole process. So it's in a paste format, and what we're going to do is we're just going to add to a bowl, we're going to add in our crushed tomatoes. We're going to add in our cream, and then I added in just a little bit of water in there as well, because we're going to braise some of these chicken breasts. So, and then we'll just add in a spoonful of the concentrate. And so it is concentrated, but again, like any other flavoring, you kind of just season to taste, and that's what really we're going to do here. And then I'm just going to whisk this all together. And I like the complexity of the spices in this dish, just because there's cream, so it gives you that kind of like that fattiness on the palate and the sauce. The tomatoes give you that acidity, and then of course you get all the spices. So we'll let that sit for a second, and then I'll bring over the chicken. So chicken breast. So we're really just kind of looking, this is just an inspiration for maybe dinner one night for maybe 3 to 4 people. So we have 2 fairly large chicken breasts that we're going to season really generously with salt and black pepper.
Logan, we have a question. Can you sub out coconut milk for the half and half?
Absolutely. Coconut milk, a lot of dairy-free replacements have been extremely popular now. So you can go oat milk, rice milk, anything like that. Any of those would work just fine. All right, so we season the chicken breast, salt and pepper, and then we're just gonna add in just a little bit of oil to the pan. And so I chose this pan with the deeper sides because, again, like I said, we're gonna add in the chicken and then sear them. Now they won't be fully cooked, but that's okay because we're gonna put them back on the sheet pan. We'll put the sauce in, we'll bring the sauce up to a simmer, put the chicken breast back in, cap it, and then we'll let that continue to cook. So we're gonna let this, I'm waiting for, so what I'm looking for in the oil is just for it to shimmer, just a touch. And that's how you know that it's hot enough. Alright, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to drop one of these in. And that's the sound you want to hear. I hope that you all can hear that. That sizzle. So we're going to let that roll. Now this is under like medium-high heat. And then we're just going to let that caramelize. We want a real nice golden brown color. And then we're going to go ahead and season the other side right now.
So where'd you get the inspiration for this dish?
So really the inspiration came from, during the pandemic, I didn't really get a chance previously to watch a lot of the cooking shows like Chef's Table, Ugly Delicious. And so there were a couple episodes on Indian cuisine and I wasn't extremely familiar with it other than maybe the couple classes that we had in culinary school. And so this was a really nice opportunity for me to kind of get back into the kitchen, cook some things that I wasn't really used to, and yeah, it just kind of took a life on its own. So here we are.
Cool. Hey, question from David Rivioli, 18. How did you get your job at Nestle?
How did I? I don't even remember. I think I found it on the Nestle website and I applied and then came up. I did the interview and the cooking session and then came back and then, yeah, got the job.
That's great. Hey, he also asked another question. What's your favorite memory of Jay Wu?
My favorite memory of Jay Wu? Two. So I was on the Johnson Wales Culinary Competition team in Johnson Wales, Charlotte. And so there used to be this intercollegiate culinary competition between all 4 campuses. And so when we won back-to-back years, that was probably one of my favorite memories. Just holding up that trophy and beating all the other campuses. So it was good.
So the cooking session, was that like a chef's test?
Yeah, pretty much. It was like open basket. Here's the catalog of products. And then, I had to do my research. I had to figure out how to use the products in advance. I was already familiar with some of the bases just through some of the education through Johnson & Wales. We did have some bases just to show the breadth of the industry and how stocks and broths were made. So I was already a little familiar with the product, but had to do some research.
I got another question from Brenna Bear. Do you have a favorite episode of Chef's Table?
That's a good question. Yeah, actually, so I've been watching the barbecue one, so now I'm obsessed with smoking meats and all the barbecue stuff now. So actually, the second episode was with the Australian chef, and he cooks everything under wood fire. There's real no electricity in the kitchen other than, just what he cooks over the wood. So I thought that was incredibly inspiring, and just the fact that you have to have the intuition to understand how to, just work with the heat. it's amazing. So yeah, great question.
I got another question here. How's work life during quarantine? Was there lots of personal deliveries or excessive security, etc.?
Yeah, you know, that's a really good question because, you know, I think we all had to, and I'm sure everyone's heard the word pivot, right? We all had a certain way of doing things, even in our regular day-to-day. And so we really had to kind of change and really adapt and, you know, do things that we weren't necessarily used to in our day-to-day, you know? And so for us now, doing live demonstrations, becoming more, you know, doing more things in a social manner, whether it's through Zoom or Microsoft Teams or anything like that, has become very important to us as a company and how we really transition into business and all of our successes, yeah. All right, so we're gonna take these out. And then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add this sauce right on in. And then we're just gonna bring this up to a simmer. So again, the sauce was crushed tomato. We added in our curry masala concentrate. We added in some half and half, a little bit of water because we are gonna kind of braise this chicken for a little bit. So we'll go ahead and we'll add the chicken in. We'll bring this up to a simmer. And then we'll let these braise. And then we're gonna move right on into the poa. We're gonna move right into the flattened rice dish. And then again, some of the major talking points that we're going to talk about in the POA is definitely going to be building flavor. You know, that was one of the things that, you know, the chef instructors really kind of emphasized going through culinary school was just building flavors and deliciousness through low and slow or high and fast heat. And so we're going to kind of do a little bit of both.
Hey, David Rivioli has another question. It says, what's your specialty as a chef? Technique, cuisine, etc., or this dish?
I would say technique as opposed to any dish. You know, that's a really good question. So the way that the curriculum was when I went through the culinary program at Johnson & Wales in Charlotte, it was all based on technique, cooking techniques. So at that time we had New World, which was grilling and frying. We had traditional European, which was braising and stewing. We had an international class, which was a global infused class. Classic French, you know, we had fundamentals of food service, so that was more breakfast cookery and things like that. So I would definitely say that I'm more technique, and I think that you know, it works for me in favor for me because it just allows me, if you know the technique, then you can cook across any platform, right? So, all right, so now we're up to a simmer. So I'm gonna take this off. I'm going to cover it. And then we're just going to let this cook.
So as you're doing that, can you sort of explain what your day-to-day life is as a corporate chef at Nestle?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think for us now, our day-to-day is a little different. So I'll kind of give the day-to-day when, like, in our norms. So typically what we'll do is we'll work on recipe development, photography, videography for our branded marketing team. And, you know, our team supports the sales. We do a lot of trade shows and food shows. And so what we'll do is we will create samples here at our headquarters, and then we'll ship them out to food shows, and then we'll just create samples to give out to the guests at the food shows, which is awesome, because I'm going to rope networking into this, because at a lot of those food shows I see a ton of peers, a lot of people that I went to college with or that I've become like great friends with just through my professional network. So there's also that opportunity as well for networking and things like that. But going back to the day-to-day, yeah, recipe development and photography and things like that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and work on this POA. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to add in oil, and we're going to start toasting off some of these peanuts. Get these nice and toasted. So these are unsalted, unroasted, and we're going to do those right in the pan. So alright. So we're going to let these toast. We really want a nice, really nice golden brown on here. We'll check on this. Looking great, smelling great. It'd be nice to hear like from the audience too. You know, I talked about inspirations. I found, you know, this to be, you know, an inspiration to me. It'd be nice to hear if there was anybody out there that was inspired by anything that they've either done research on, or maybe that they've seen during the pandemic, maybe that they've been working on, things like that. That would be awesome to hear. I know that like some of the chefs here, I know one of them was really inspired by wood-fired cookery, and so there was, you know, he came in and he started cooking in the wood-fired oven, which was incredible. Some of the products coming out of that oven were unreal. So I was inspired by that, and yeah, so it's gonna be it. So all right, we're gonna add in some of our mustard seeds here.
We have a question. What advice would you give to current JWU students during these hard times?
I would just say, you know, you're there for, you know, you're there to learn. I would still continue to network the best that you can. Again, I mentioned it earlier, and that, you know, that network is so important. And then studies too. You know, there's still a need out there for chefs and food service professionals. So, you know, I know it's hard, and I know if you're taking online classes, I'm taking online classes right now too. So, you know, I totally get the struggle of, you know, having to sit in on Zoom calls and Zoom meetings and work remotely. But, you know, just know that in the end, it's all going to be worth it. All right, so just to give you a quick little update on what we're working on here. So I added in the mustard seeds, I added in the peanuts, and so we just let those toast up just a little bit. As soon as the mustard seeds start to pop, just like that, that's when you want to kind of start adding in your other ingredients. So we're going to go ahead and add in our potatoes. So we're going to add in the potatoes. And then we're going to let these just cook a little bit, right? So I want these potatoes to really infuse the flavors of the peanuts and the mustard seeds. But at the same time too, because this is more of a saute, I really want those potatoes to really cook, right? So we're going to continue to just kind of saute these a little bit.
We got another question. What changes are you seeing in this industry affecting the chef profession that are here to last?
Here to last. Right here. Live videos. You know, we've already been working with, you know, some of our other counterparts in doing live videos, live demonstrations, trying to pivot. How do we figure out how to still continue to showcase our products and do that in a meaningful way through online, through videos, through live sessions, through discussion and things like that. So that's what I foresee being staying for a while. All right, so now that we did that,
what kind of potatoes are you using? Does it matter?
So I'm using russets. You could use any potato that you'd like. I'm using russets. Fingerlings would be really good in this. Little creamer potatoes would be really good in this as well. So test around.
We have a fun little question. What was your favorite show to binge watch during quarantine?
My favorite show. Okay, so I'll give you one cooking and then one non-cooking. So Peaky Blinders. Oh no. What was the one? Sopranos. Had never seen it before. A lot of people were like, what? So I went ahead, I watched all the Sopranos in a couple months, and so, which was incredible. Watched that, so that was the non-culinary one of mine. And then culinary, I don't know, there's something about Chef's Table and the videography and just their storytelling that is just so next level. It's so descriptive. You almost feel like you are on the other side of the camera watching them wherever in the world that they are. So I would go Chef's Table.
What inspired you to pursue culinary?
Culinary? So this is a really funny story. So my dad told me at 15 and a half I needed to get a job. And so the only job that was available at the time was a busser job that was across the street. And so I took the job. One of the line cooks was out for the night, and they said, we need you to fry French fries. And I said, okay. So I got my first taste of the line when I was like 15 and a half, and then from there, I just I really didn't want to do anything else. We cooked, my family cooked all the time. I'm gonna add these and then I'll get back to that. So I'm gonna add in these red onions. So again, levels of flavor, right? So peanuts, mustard seeds, potatoes, and then now we're going to start adding in our aromatics, right? So red onion, we minced up a bunch of garlic, and then we're going to use the whites of the scallions in there as well. So now just getting back to that previous question, so once I figured out that I wanted to do culinary, I kind of went all in. My dad was very supportive and was just like, dude, if you're going to do it, do it. And so I enrolled in the Technical and Career Education Center in Virginia Beach, and I just kind of went all in. And, it's kind of taken a life of its own, and yeah, just here I am. So.
What?
Right, so again, we added in the aromatics. I'm going to go ahead and season with salt now. So I like to season as I go, and then we'll taste a little bit later on, and then we'll adjust. So just adding in some salt and black pepper at this stage, and then we're just going to continue to cook these aromatics just for a couple more minutes. But you can smell the difference in aroma here with the peanuts, the mustard seeds, the garlic and the onions, the two types of onions. So, you're really, again, we're building flavors. This is going to be extremely, extremely, extremely flavorful.
Hey, Chef Jay has a question asking, what's your favorite dish to make?
Oh, my favorite dish to make? I don't know. Pasta, I guess? I don't know. I had a lot of people saying like, oh, you're not doing pasta, you're not making fresh pasta, and I was like, no. I love fresh pasta. I love pasta in general. I think pasta is such an underrated vessel for anything. Flavor, yeah, any sauce, any shape, any place. It's me. I got it. So again, building flavors. Now, what I do love about this dish, and the ingredients are on the Instagram post, but it's very customizable. If you don't want to use potatoes, use sweet potatoes, or use butternut squash, or if you don't want to use peanuts, use cashews or almonds. Be creative and kind of make it your own. Now, I would have had some type of capsaicin. So usually I would have added in maybe like some serranos, like mint serranos or something like that. But unfortunately, the last time we did a demo and we did that without the hoods on, I had the whole team like choking. So it was not good. It was a little funny, but yeah, it wasn't that good. So
we got another question. Because everybody knows that when you graduate from culinary school, you're not considered a professional chef. At what moment in your life did you earn that title?
I don't know if I ever have. I don't even know if I ever will. You know, really at the end of the day, you know, I'm still a cook. I'm cooking, right? You know, and I think that's really all it is. You know, a title's just a title. Yeah, corporate chef is nice to have, but you know, really at the end of the day, I'm just a cook. We're all cooks. So, and it's International Chef's Day. So there you go. Okay, so again, we had the really thin flattened rice earlier, and so this is what it looks like when it's hydrated. So it's nice, it's plump, and then we're just going to add this right on in. We're going to add this. We're going to give this a stir. And then here's the third and final layer of flavor, right? So what we're going to do is we are really going to start adding in our scallions. And then we're just going to wilt all this together.